So I had a nephrologist, the one prior to the one that I have now. And this nephrologist, every time I was in the dialysis center, he would do his rounds because nephrologists have to do their rounds in the center. Every time he would do his rounds, he would always come to me. He would always stop at me and he would ask me, have I considered transplant? And I would always tell him yes. Right? It would be like the little care team would be the nephrologist, the social worker, and the head nurse. Right? And they would always ask me if I considered transplant. And I always tell them yes. Yes, I've considered transplant. And they were like, okay, that's good. And then they would just walk away. And then nothing ever came of it. Right? He would tell the social worker, oh, okay, we'll get on that. And then they wouldn't. And then, like, the next month he would do the same thing. Oh, well, have you considered transplant? Since you hate dialysis so much. Yes. Same thing. Oh, well, we'll get on that. Oh, well, we'll get on that. As soon as possible. Same thing. Month after month, he would do this. And it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, I don't understand, like, why he keeps asking me about transplant, but he doesn't give me the necessary information that I need to allow me to get on the transplant list. And statistically, healthcare professionals do not introduce the idea of transplant to minorities because they feel as though they won't even make it out of the preliminaries, right? Like they won't even pass the initial workup for transplant in order to be put on the transplant list for transplantation. It didn't make any sense to me at the time. I didn't understand until I did some research. White people, and this is not a white versus minority thing, statistically, white people are more likely to be introduced to the idea of transplant than blacks and Latinos. Because whites are a race of people that are considered to take care of themselves, to understand what they're supposed to do, to be compliant, and to actually get transplants. The doctor was Chinese, the head nurse was Filipino, and the social worker was Indian. So there wasn't really anybody in my corner on this until eventually I had to just get irate with them for them to tell me what I needed to do. White patients are more likely to be told about transplant, to be given the information about transplant, and to be helped through the transplant process. And they're more likely to actually get transplantation than blacks and Latinos. This doctor just wanted me to be comfortable being on dialysis because he legitimately believed that I was not good enough for transplant. I would never get a transplant because either one, I wouldn't be able to get it, and two, if I did get it, I wouldn't be able to take care of it. Now, that's racist. That's plain, simple racism. But here's the thing. When I actually went to get on the transplant list, it was super easy. Barely any inconvenience. Now, where I consistently keep getting stopped is now that I'm on the transplant list. That's where I keep finding trouble. But to get on the transplant list was very easy for me to do. Despite, me being African American, O-type blood, it was very easy. Which means that he stereotyped and judged me based off of my appearance and his interaction with black people. You cannot judge a book by its cover. I want a transplant. I am extremely motivated to be on the transplant list. And this particular nephrologist tried to discourage me well before it even got to that process.